When I walk in an interview room, I'm walking into darkness, and I'm the light in the darkness.
Who'd you get the card from?
I got it from
A friend.
Okay, here we go. Here's the first lie.
Listen to me. You didn't get the card from your friend. I know where you got it from. Because I went out there and I saw the woman laying on the ground.
I see the body and I was in shock.
There were no eyewitnesses.
Detective Waters finds ways to get people to talk.
You don't like the fact that she's been out with another man.
So at that point, we've got 5 suspects.
You owe her. You don't owe me. You don't owe me anything.
I never walk into any interview room expecting a confession. I'm expecting to get to the truth. Houston, Texas, America's 4th largest city. I served as a homicide detective with Houston's finest for over 23 years. I've investigated over 400 murders and solved 90% with a confession. Once I have a suspect in the room, I don't quit until I get justice for the victims. I am homicide detective Phil Waters. In all of my experience as a homicide detective, I have come to find that no matter who the victim may be, they are someone to somebody else. They are someone's sister, someone's mother, someone's friend. And so my job as a homicide cop is a simple one. I've got to find the right person who's done the wrong thing and make sure there's a measure of justice served.
It was a Saturday morning, and I wake up really early that day to go to work.
Araceli worked at a Sam's Club that was close to her home. Her sister, Ide, her 2 girls, lived with Araceli. And the night before Ide went out to celebrate with her friends for her 30th birthday,
She decided to dress up. She was like, oh, why not just go into dancing and I can celebrate my birthday with friends. And I remember telling her to have fun and just come back safe.
Araceli said that when she walked out of her apartment, she saw that there was a body of a woman laying on the sidewalk. Her hand had been over her face. And Araceli took her hand and moved it so that she could see her face.
Oh, it's my sister.
On that morning, June 19th, 2010, in those dark moments, I received a call from the Homicide Division intake desk regarding a single white female who had been found in an apartment complex, shot 1 time. So now I've got to get prepared mentally for what I'm about to approach. When I looked at her, the first thought that I had in my head about her was she looked like a doll laying on the sidewalk that a child had dropped. She was so small and so petite, laying there about 20, 25 feet from the front door of her apartment. She is an obvious victim of a gunshot wound in the right side of her throat. Now, looking around her body, we see what might be a scuffle of some kind, and then we see those imprints walking away from her body. And There is no purse present, which is significant. So the next step was counting on Araceli to give me more information about what was in that purse. But at the scene, Araceli was so shaken that I think she had a hard time even telling me what her name was, let alone trying to articulate to me what Ida carried around in her purse.
I was in shock, so I was having a hard time to say anything. I just told him that we found my sister.
If one can imagine the shock of finding a body and then what Araceli did, realizing she's looking into the face of her sister. I'm not sure how any of us would handle that.
Ida and her sister Araceli were originally from Mexico, and they moved to the United States when they were in elementary school. Ida had married and had 2 beautiful children. She was a loving mother, hardworking. She had everything going for her. And at the time of her death, she and her husband were divorced.
When she separated, she was always with me. We were best friends, so.
She was a hostess at a local restaurant. She just purchased a new car. She's getting ready to look at purchasing a house. She is beginning to live the American dream. But the great tragedy is that her life ended. It's my responsibility to canvass the apartments. So we start knocking on doors. And an 8-year-old little boy tells me that he woke up early in the morning, around 4:30, and had heard a gunshot and then heard a car driving away at a high rate of speed. That gives us a time frame for when the shooting may have occurred.
The night that Ida went out to celebrate her birthday, the girls had gone to stay with their dad.
She left the 2 children with her ex-husband, but he certainly has an alibi. He's got the 2 children, so he's eliminated from the mix fairly quickly. Ida was single. She had had some boyfriends. So I asked Araceli a question. What kind of conflicts was Ida having? Do you know of anyone? Period. And without hesitation, Araceli named a possible suspect, Humberto Madrigal.
Humberto was Ida's boyfriend in that time. They were together for a year, but the problems start when Ida decided to break out with him.
This is a great lead. Humberto was infatuated with Ida. Now I want to find out about his background. So I find a police report that's related to Ida. The report we find says Humberto shows up at the apartment. He starts knocking on the window in the middle of the night.
She was sleepy, he was knocking, he got upset and he started knocking more and more. She was like, oh my God.
He makes entry into her bedroom. And Ida gets in the closet, shuts the door. Humberto, he starts looking for Ida.
5 to 10 minutes, she was hiding, but he didn't find her.
He was charged with criminal trespass.
We tried to do everything to get this guy away from us. My sister changed her cell phone number, and we tried to look for another apartment complex, but we had to finish the contract with them. We even tried to buy a house together. She was really scared of everything, of what's going on. I was like, how this is gonna end? Because he needs to stop.
The most dangerous time of an obsessive relationship is when the pursued makes the decision that I am no longer going to be the victim in this relationship. Not every time does it end in an explosion, but too many times it does. At this moment, Humberto is the most likely suspect. We've got a lot of smoke.
All right, let's do this side.
And now we've got to go see if we've got fire. On the west side of Houston, Ida Reyna was returning to her home after celebrating her birthday when she met her death.
I was Phil Waters' partner in the murder investigation of Ida Reyna. She had a boyfriend named Humberto. He had broken into her apartment on one occasion, and her being shot there outside the apartment, it gave Detective Waters something to go after and pursue as a potential suspect.
We have a good idea of where he lives, which is not terribly far away from Ida's, and one of the doors that I knock on belongs to Maria, and she is the wife, girlfriend of Humberto's brother, Omar. When I asked her where Humberto may have been on the early morning hours, June 19th, she talked about Humberto had gone to some bar hopping, came home at 3:30, and Omar, her husband, picked him up and took him to work at 6:30. So there's a 3-hour window there. Obviously, that falls well within the time frame of when we know Ida was murdered. So it is possible that he could have done it. Now, Maria offered to bring Humberto to the homicide division for an interview. Humberto feels more comfortable speaking Spanish, so I'm going to bring in another detective to do the translation in this interview.
Mike, I'm gonna sit in this chair. Okay, so my name is Detective M.F. Waters. In the room with me is Detective Mike Ibanez, who is also with the Houston Police Department. He will be translating. Will you say that you were in love with Ida?
¿Tiene amor por ella?
No, sí, yo le quería.
Kind of in love.
Okay.
After Ida had broken up with Humberto, she starts to see other people.
You were very upset when she would be with other men.
Tú tienes muchos problemas que ella estaban con otros hombres, ¿verdad?
No,
¿Verdad?
no, porque yo nunca miré nada, yo nunca comprobé nada.
Not upset about that.
Really?
His demeanor was so low key, one could say he's doing that because he was involved. So that's when I start to get pretty tough with him.
So you text message her, answer your phone, or you will see what will happen to that fucking boy.
De esa fecha para acá, yo no vuelto a saber de ella.
Okay, you listen to me. You're the kind of guy who gets obsessed, and you don't like the fact that she's been out with another man. Did you show up at her apartment, and now this time you've got a gun,
Yo no fui a su
and she
apartamento.
fights you this time, and you accidentally pull the trigger?
Still, there's no response. I'm thinking, my gosh, you know, he was obsessed with her, but now is he affected by the gravity of what the situation is and what I'm saying to him?
You go over there, you park your car, and you wait for her. And she pulls in. She walks up to the apartment. She almost gets there, but you stop her. You're going to show her how serious you are with the gun. And that's exactly what you do. There she is, If you did that, Humberto, that is you right there. That is you right there. There's only one person on the face of the planet that would attack her and do that to her, and that's you, nobody else. Everything else leads up to you.
He just denied everything. So I'm going to try to collect some evidence from him.
Give me your shoes.
At the crime scene, they were able to take some shoe imprints.
And I look at the bottom of his shoes. They are a similar pattern to what I saw in the dirt at the scene.
That's your shoes.
And we're going to have those shoes analyzed. We're going to, maybe Iday's DNA on the shoes. But at that point in time, I was starting to sense from Humberto that his denials, which are pretty strong, may be accurate. I may not be looking at my suspect, but right now you're the best one I got. I enter every investigation that I'm going to solve it. So solvability is a frame of mind a lot of times, and there are times where you hit the wall.
I was like, what's going on? And my sister died 30 days ago. I was believing it was Humberto the whole time. And I'm afraid of him doing something to me.
I made a commitment to Araceli that I was going to do everything that I could possibly do to bring her sister's killer to justice.
A letter came in from the bank saying that my sister's overdraft and her account, there was somebody using her car.
Approximately 45 minutes after Iday's death, on the morning that she was killed, her debit card is used at a gas station where $500 had been debited out.
This would renew the chase here because Detective Waters, he didn't have a suspect other than Humberto. It's an extremely, extremely hot lead.
It is the biggest clue that we've gotten yet. One month after Iday had been gunned down, Araceli, her sister, had new information for us.
A letter came in saying Iday is gonna have an overdraft in her account. So I went to the bank and told them it's not possible because my sister passed away.
Araceli tells me that Iday's debit card has been overdrawn after she's murdered. That was huge. We have these little seminal moments, and boom, here it is. This is starting to go.
Approximately $2,000 was taken out of the account.
The card was used 45 minutes after the murder. Over a period of 14 or 15 hours, there's 19 separate transactions.
There was a racetrack, gas station, there was a Texaco, there were Walmarts. This card was used to purchase or withdraw money from.
Detective Waters starts to go to those locations with the hopes that he's going to find video that will show who's using the debit card.
So, what's the best place to start? At the beginning. The first transaction, $500, drawn from a racetrack gas station. I make contact with racetrack. They have a system that overrides itself every 10 days. So we're shot there. Move on to the next one. Texaco station, $300 withdrawal. That video system has been replaced most recently. We have no video there. End up going to the purchase of Murphy's Gas, which is in front of one of the Walmarts, and then we get a purchase inside that Walmart. And then we get a purchase at another Walmart. So we hit the gold mine. We've got a very good video system, and we are able to track purchases in the stores at the particular cashier where the card has been used.
In the first video, it was one male that was using the card, and that was not Umberto. It was a black male, medium build, and he was wearing a red shirt and khaki shorts.
There's also another camera angle that shows a black male with the khaki pants and the red shirt and getting out of a black Pontiac.
But they were unable to get the license plate of that vehicle.
And at another Walmart, we see a group of individuals who walks in and makes purchases, and that same black male with the red shirt and the khaki pants is in this group. We track them to the store. We track them to the exit, and now they're getting into a green Saturn.
And there's actually a license plate on that green vehicle.
That was the thing that blew this case wide open. You know, if you want to use the football analogy, we're making some first downs now. And I'm pretty pumped up about it at this point.
Phil knows these people are using IDA's credit card, and his initial thought was Umberto was a suspect, so it's conceivable that Umberto still could have committed the murder. He could have gave her information to someone else or sold it to him for money. So at that point, you've got Umberto, and you've got 3 black males and a black female. Now you have 5 suspects.
The license plate came back to being registered to a woman by the name of Tiara Davis. Tiara Davis did resemble the woman that was in the second Walmart video.
Suddenly, things started happening rapidly. Pearland PD made a traffic stop on that green Saturn and had taken a male by the name of Hugh Baldwin into custody.
So we immediately head down to Pearland PD and interview Hugh.
Hugh actually identified himself as the person in the video, and he also identified Tiara as the female in the video.
We told him we needed to talk to Tiara, and Hugh was readily available. I'll go pick her up, I'll bring her to you, and you guys can talk to her.
So now the dots were connecting.
Tiara readily admitted to using the card. She had purchased some things for Shawana Pope, who was Hugh Baldwin's sister. And what kind of a car do you think Shawana Pope drives? A black Pontiac. We see the black male with the red shirt and the khaki pants getting out of.
Tiara looks at the picture and says, yeah, I think that's Kendrick. Kendrick Baldwin.
Kendrick Baldwin's mother is Shawana Pope, the registered owner of that black Pontiac. The similarities in the identification is striking, and I am confident that that's Kendrick Baldwin that I'm looking at in that red shirt and those khaki shorts.
At this point, they're thinking that they're closing in on the suspect, the person using the card, as being Kendrick Baldwin.
We locate a Facebook account for Kendrick. And it was rather ironic that shortly after the murder happens, Kendrick changed his Facebook name to Triggerman. Well, that obviously kind of jumps out. I mean, you see a day or two later that he calls himself Triggerman. Potentially, he's confessing inadvertently to being the Triggerman in this case.
At this point, the roads are all leading to Kendrick Baldwin. Somebody had to hit me in the face with a 2x4 to make me stop. It's been 7 weeks since Ida Reyna was gunned down in front of her home. We have a new suspect, and his name is Kendrick Baldwin. And I am confident that that's Kendrick Baldwin that I'm looking at in that red shirt and those khaki shorts, using the card of the victim.
We believe it's him in both videos, that he calls himself Triggerman, Kendrick Triggerman Baldwin.
We make a cruise at the apartment where we know Kendrick lives with his mother, Shawana Pope. And lo and behold, what do we find sitting in front of us? A black Pontiac. Exact same black Pontiac we see on the video. We find Kendrick in the apartment. We get Kendrick in the car. We pull out onto the street.
So just by chance, Shawana Pope had walked to the convenience store. And we stopped and spoke to her. And she volunteered to come in and speak with us as well.
We get them down to the homicide division office. I put Shawana Pope in one interview room and I put Kendrick in the other. It's all about relationships. Now, as it turned out, Sergeant Roberts, Bobby, had established a relationship and a rapport with Kendrick. So he conducts the interview with Kendrick and I go ahead and conduct my interview with Shawana.
All right, my name is Detective M.F. Waters II. I'm with the Houston Police Department Homicide Division. You know, I'm not in here to try to trick you, so if you try to run something at me that's not right, then I'm going to throw the bullcrap flag. Okay.
I showed her the picture of the black male with the red shirt and the khaki pants that we thought was her son, Kendrick Baldwin. Shawana adamantly denied that that was her son. Well, what's the next logical question for me? Well, then who is it? Because the dadgum sure looks like him.
The source of this card is who? No. From what you know, the source of this stolen card is who? Okay.
She comes off with something like Beto, and it wasn't the guy that was running for Senate in Texas, you know, running for president. Wasn't that Beto? He is Kendrick's good friend.
But you don't know his real name? And Beto told you that the card was stolen, right?
It's not mine.
It's not mine. All right. We have Beto getting out of your car
I let him
at the
use my
neighborhood
car.
Walmart
And
in Beach Nut.
I let him use my car.
Okay, well, who's driving that car? Because he gets out of the passenger side.
Oh, I took him to the store.
Okay.
I took him to the store.
But here's what happened. A little gal out celebrating her birthday comes home. Somebody jacked her, shot her, murdered her, gunned her down about 25 feet from the front door of her apartment. That's where that card comes from.
When she's telling me it's not her son, it's not Kendrick. My thinking is Bobby is going to sift through the bull crap now, and we're going to come up with a viable suspect.
I'm going to record what we're talking about so I don't have to take a bunch of notes. Okay?
I trust Bobby. He's a good homicide detective. He's a good interviewer.
Your mom has pretty well told us most everything that we need to know. Okay.
What was eye-opening was Kendrick talked about Iday's murder, and he just freely told me who was involved.
I need to know your relationship with this guy.
I look at him like a brother, you know.
Okay, who is he?
Leo. He used to live with us, you know.
Who is he?
Cedric Buckner.
Okay.
I realize he's giving me the shooter. He's telling me that Cedric Buckner is the shooter. You know, if he's telling the truth and not, you know, trying to play it off that it's not him, it's somebody else. On June the 19th, Cedric had gone to Shawana's house for a family reunion. Kendrick said that Cedric was walking through an apartment complex and that when Iday got out of her car, he approached her.
I remember he telling me he went out and robbed some lady.
Cedric pointed a gun at her and told her, "You know what time it is," which was his way of saying, "You're getting robbed right now."
He was like, "When I came up last night."
He came up.
He said that Cedric pointed a gun at her. She either grabbed him or she's yelling, "No, no," at him.
You know, he was just like, I just ran up on him and I slapped her with the gun and he went off.
Cedric told Kendrick that Ida fell to the ground unconscious.
He said, I took a purse and everything. I went to the ATM and checked it, and it had like $1,800 on it, but they only let me withdraw $5. And he said, I just started swiping the card. Why would you think this? Because we like brothers.
Kendrick, the way he laid the facts out, he was either the shooter or he was telling the truth.
Everything he told you was accurate. It wasn't an accident. You know what I'm saying? He killed the lady. He killed her. He murdered her.
Bobby walks in the room and hands me a picture and walks out, and the name on the picture is Cedric Buckner. And I look at his picture and I'm like, holy crap. This looks like Kendrick Baldwin's twin brother. It's starting to turn it in the direction from a domestic violence murder to an aggravated robbery, to a stranger on stranger aggravated robbery. So now, Humberto is being eliminated pretty quickly.
We obtained a pocket warrant for Cedric Buckner for capital murder.
The problem with Cedric is that he was transient. He was really laying his head wherever anybody would let him. We tracked his phone to his girlfriend's house, and suffice to say, we located Cedric Buckner.
We asked to speak to Cedric. They said he's back there in the back room.
That's one of those moments you're going, holy crap, I can't believe he's here.
So we walked to the back room, and sprawled out on the bed was a male who we found to be Cedric Buckner.
And I said, would you mind coming down with us? And his response was, let me put my shoes on.
It's not uncommon for people who, for one, believe their own lies. He knows there was no witnesses on the scene. They have nothing. So, yeah, let's go talk to him.
I watch him. I want to see just how he's sitting in the chair. What's he doing? Very calm. So what does that tell me? He's ready to tell his story, his version of the truth.
All right, let's do this thing.
There was zero connection between Ida, Araceli, Cedric Buckner. And so with nothing tying him to Ida or the crime scene, getting him to open up is the only chance we'll have to charge him with capital murder. Close to 2 months after Ida Reyna was gunned down, we have a new suspect, Cedric Buckner. We've got Cedric Buckner identified as the black male in the red shirt and the khaki pants, using the card of the victim, Ida Reyna. But there was zero connection between Ida and Cedric Buckner. This is a stranger-on-stranger murder, and the only way to seal the deal is to go for the confession.
All right. My name is Detective M.F. Waters. I'm with the Houston Police Department Homicide Division, and in the room with me is Cedric Buckner, correct? Yes, sir.
When I talk to Cedric, knowing the fact that he just lays his head wherever someone will let him lay his head, he doesn't really have a home. My preparation for this is to appeal to him as a father figure.
Walk me through what you can remember of what you did that day. On June the 19th.
I believe that was my godmama family reunion.
Okay.
Me and Shawana, we went to Walmart.
Okay.
I had a card. I used the card somebody gave me.
Now, this is a good start because he's immediately making an admission, telling me, yeah, I had the card, I used it.
Who'd you get the card from?
But I don't have a job right now, so I'm trying to make it. I sell, you know what I'm saying, exchange it.
So, let me tell you this. I've got you on video at the Walmart that Shawana took you to.
I talked to him about what I see on the videos. I want him to know I'm telling him the truth. You remember that red shirt and those khaki shorts you're wearing? And you could see lights going off, you know.
That card is taken from the person you took it from 45 minutes before you use it the first time at the racetrack gas station. If we're going to start doing a dance where you're going to start denying some things that I know are not the truth from you, then we're going to have a problem.
I mean, I'm telling you the truth. I said I got it from a friend.
Okay, well, you didn't get it from my friend.
I'm telling you, sir.
Okay, here we go. Here's the first lie. He's offering up a little bit of truth, which is the debit card and the use of it. But what turns that little bit of truth into a big old lie? I got it from a friend. Well, no, you didn't.
I know where you got it from. Because I went out there and I saw the woman laying on the ground.
I mean, how can you just accuse me of that?
That's her. Look at her.
I show him pictures of the scene because I wanted him to understand what he was responsible for. Iday's never going to hug her children and hold her children again.
You know who found her 10 minutes after you walked away? Her sister.
At that point, I was starting to sense that appealing to him on an emotional level in terms of what he had done wasn't going to work. So I would change course and tell him that Kendrick told us about what happened to that young lady. And of course, I got the look, that 1,000-yard stare that he didn't believe what I was telling him.
I would be happy to play you the tape. This is your friend.
I remember he telling me to go out and rob some lady. You know, he was just like, and I just ran up on him, and I slapped him with the gun, and he went off.
You recognize Kendrick's voice?
I mean, I'm not believing nothing he said.
And I'm just looking at him like, that's Kendrick, right? Yeah, but I don't believe anything he's saying. Well, the problem for you, Cetric, is that I believe everything he's saying.
Now, he says you hit the lady with the gun went off, it was an accident, and you didn't know if she was shot or not.
I didn't do it. I didn't tell him no such thing.
Are you kidding me? Do you understand what's going on here? This is a capital murder. You only got two choices at this, son, life and death. So which one is it? You did it on purpose, or it happened like you told Kendrick it happened?
I'm saying I didn't do it.
I said, we can sit here until the second coming, and you're not going to be able to deny it anymore. Here are your choices.
You either walked up to this woman, 4'11" and 100 pounds, and you stuck a pistol in her throat, and you blew her brains out and stole her purse, or it happened the way you explained it to Kendrick. Which is it?
I know that when I get tired of hearing myself talk in the interview room, that I have been in there way too long. But time is always on the interviewer's side.
After 4 hours, he finally just hangs his head.
You owe her. You don't owe me. You don't owe me anything.
It happened like I told you.
Okay.
All right, we're in the end zone, and now it's time to spike the football, right? But I can't do that. I'm sitting here going, inside, I'm like, holy crap, there it is. We got it. But now, we've got to go further. Lift him up, tell him I'm proud of him, and tell me what happened. He was out hunting.
Tell me the story. I walked up to her. I say, you already know what your time is. I say, just give me the purse. She reached out for me. It was like, no. No. Hit her with the purse. It went off.
Why would you do such a thing? Cedric's explanation was that he didn't have any money, that his baby's mama gave him a hard time about not supporting his son, and he had some attorney fees.
I apologize for wasting your time.
Cedric, you've done the right thing.
Without that confession, it would have been near impossible to try. We didn't have a lot of physical evidence. The gun was gone, and so were the shoes. So it all rested on Detective Waters' testimony, the confession, and his total devotion to seeking the truth.
I don't have no words. He just destroys our family. That's all. She's in my heart, and she's not gonna go away.
I don't think you could find a better definition of an innocent victim in Ide. It's only people that do what I do, that speak for the dead, that give them voice. He's taken it away, and I'm giving it back to them.